to say, after a very difficult week and a half, that there are some bright linings to an otherwise dark golden cloth here, and that is that Israel now is engaged in an intense dialogue with the United States and with other friendly nations in reviewing the Gaza situation and looking at ways of better addressing the civil needs of the Palestinian population in Gaza, all the while addressing the very real security needs of the State of Israel. We, along with the Obama administration, I think along with the Egyptian government and the Palestinian Authority, and my friend and colleague here, Ziad Al-Asli, I think can attest to this, understand that Hamas presents a threat, not only to Israeli citizens, but to other entities and other countries in the region, and that were Hamas to gain unbridled, unfettered access to weaponry, to missiles, it would not only endanger the lives of 7.5 million Israelis, but it would very much threaten the future of the peace process. And we have an interest in ensuring that Hamas does not have access to that type of munitions, all the while, again, addressing the humanitarian needs of the population of Gaza. Now, having said that, in addition to the complex situation in Gaza, Israel faces a great many challenges. The threat of Hamas to Israeli citizens and to the peace process is just one of the challenges we face in the whole question of our historic effort to achieve a permanent, legitimate, stable peace with the Palestinians based on two states and two peoples. And I can only assure you that the government of Israel is deeply committed to moving toward achieving that goal and moving swiftly. We don't see time necessarily playing in our favor. We want to move swiftly, definitively to achieving a two-state solution, and we're looking forward to direct talks with the Palestinians. Right now, we're engaged in proximity talks, which we, along with the Obama administration, view as a corridor leading to direct talks. We hope by the end of the summer we'll be engaged in that direct talks, and once we're in direct talks, we have a fair degree of confidence that we can move swiftly to achieving that great goal for which we all long. Having said that, there are, this may come as a surprise to you, there are the perils of peace. There are the perils of peace. We understand that in creating a Palestinian state, we will be withdrawing from territory. And that withdrawal will be painful for us. It will be painful for us. We'll be withdrawing from territories that we regard as the cradle of our peoplehood, of our national identity. But that's only the beginning of the peril. There's going to be a border drawn somewhere, and that border is not going to be to everyone's liking. It's not going to be to the liking of some Israelis. It's not going to be to the liking of some Palestinians. And we'll have opposition to where that border is going to be drawn. Agreed? And that's just the beginning. We've had some unfortunate experience withdrawing from territories. We withdrew from Lebanon in 2000. We withdrew from Gaza in 2005. In both cases, in an effort to generate conditions which we hope would be more conducive to peace, and we didn't get peace. We got thousands and thousands of rockets, and we have to ensure that when we withdraw from these territories, that those same territories will not be used to launch thousands of missiles against us. My wife Sally and I, we live in southern Jerusalem, and if this Palestinian state became being, it wouldn't be miles away. It would be literally down the street, and we would not be within rocket distance. We would be within pistol range. And we have to ensure that the Palestinian state, when it is created, will not pose that type of threat. We also have to ensure that the Palestinian, I mentioned before that the two-state solution has to be a permanent and legitimate solution. And this is not a tactical demand. This is about as essential a goal as we have. The idea is that the Palestinian state comes into being, and we recognize the Palestinian state as the national home of the Palestinian state people. They, in turn, recognize us as the nation state of the Jewish people, and therefore there are no further claims. There's no irredenta, and it's an end of conflict. And then the actual two-state solution is the solution. It's not, as Ehud Barak is fond of saying, a two-stage solution in which the next solution is Israel's dissolution. We don't want that. That's a very serious challenge we face. The next challenge we face is one that I encountered repeatedly during the course of the last week. It's the challenge to Israel's legitimacy. The challenges to Israel's right to defend itself, the challenge to right Israel to exist as an independent Jewish state. We often refer to the challenges by the initials BDS, boycott, divestment, and sanctions. And the BDS takes many forms in the course of sort of my work week. It could be challenges calling on companies or campuses to divest from Israel, or churches to divest from Israel. Challenges to our legitimacy in international courts of justice in the Human Rights Council of the United Nations. We're all familiar with the Goldstone Report. Certainly a challenge to our ability to defend ourselves. The ability of certain American ambassadors to the United States to speak on certain American campuses, which I have encountered. BDS is uncomfortable. It poses an economic threat should it evolve into some type of sanction activity against Israel, but also has a tactical and even strategic ramifications to BDS. Hezbollah, for example, in Lebanon. Hezbollah in 2006 had about 12,000 rockets, which most of them were short range, but there were mid-range and long-range rockets, not very accurate. But the